Now it's time to learn how to style your websites so they look awesome. For this, you're going to use CSS, which stands for Cascade Style Sheet. So in this case, you're going to create a new folder called CSS, and you're going to drag it to Visual Studio Code, so you open it here. I'm going to close the welcome page. I'm going to create a new index.html file. I'm going to add an exclamation mark tab, so it adds the basic HTML elements. And I'm going to go here at the top, bracket, and type live preview start server, so we can see the changes in real life. You have two ways of adding styles to our document. First one is going to the head tags and create a style tag. So we create style and opening, style and closing tag. Here we have to add a selector, which is going to select which element we want to style, the property, which is the property we want to change, and the value we want to apply. So in this case, we're going to change the body. We're going to open and close curly braces, and inside those curly braces, remember, every time you open something, you have to close it, okay? You're going to select the property, in this case, for example, the background / color, and you're going to apply the value. For example, this aquamarine. And as you can see, this style is being applied to the element, okay? The body has a background color of aquamarine. We have a semicolon and two dots right here. Great. The problem with this is when you are creating a huge website with lots of dividers, sections, paragraphs, navs, sidebars, etc., you will get a file that is very, very big. So you want to have different files for different purposes. In this case, we're going to create a new file called style.css. And here we're going to add our styles. So this style tag, which is usually applied to the head, but it can also be here outside the HTML tags, or maybe even inside the body. But it's not a good practice. The best way to use this is in the head tag. And even better is to outsource it to a different file. So we can copy it here, and this won't work. As you can see, we have an error right here because this is a CSS file, it's not HTML. So we don't need to add those style tags. We can delete them and save it. But this background is not being applied to the document. We have to reference it in the head. The same way we created a style tag, we have to tell the browser that it has to use this CSS instead of the one we were adding here. So for this, we're not going to use a style tag, we're going to use a link tag. Okay, so we're going to link this HTML with the CSS. So we add a link, and it's going to be real equal style sheet. Okay, style sheet. So the browser knows that this is CSS, this is going to style our website, and then the href, which is going to be where is this CSS at. We can even add URLs here. Maybe you have it in some URL and you can place that here. In fact, there are some CSS libraries that are very small, like Pico CSS, that when you add them to your web pages, they look very good in a very simple way. So here they usually have what is called a CDN. So let me see if they have get started, and you can add this code right here, okay, but from a CDN here, okay. So usage from CDN, this is a link. When you go to this link, there's a CSS file. This is very big, okay, so don't worry what it does, but you can copy this and use with that line of code is being applied to your website. It's dark because I'm using dark mode, and this works for dark and light mode, but in your case maybe it looks light. But here you can add headings, and you can see, hello, they have a better typography. You can add dividers, okay, and inside them the hello, and maybe you can add a button, hello world, and as you can see, it looks great. It's not the basic HTML styling, which is none, and it looks bad, and here it's better. Even when you are a form, okay, and we are here an input type text, okay, and we close it, you can see it looks better, okay, so it looks really good. And maybe a text area, okay, So again, this looks very, very good. It even has some borders. When you select them, it lights up the borders. So it's this is a way to add CSS, and these are like libraries that you can add, minimal CSS frameworks or libraries that you can add, so they can style your website without doing any extra work. But in this case, you want to learn CSS, so we're not going to use this method. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, the same way, link this CSS file, which is not going to be in some website, in some CDN, which is just like a website where you can get a file, but it's going to be at our folder. So I'm going to add style sheet, and the href is not going to be any website, it's going to be this folder. So for this we add a dot slash style.css, and now the style is being applied. Okay, so you can see it here. For example, we can select the heading ones, and we can add a color of blue. Okay, so now the color is blue, or maybe a text decoration of underline, and now the H1 has an underline. Okay, so this I'm going to close this tag. This document is linked to this CSS file. Okay, I want you to play around with this here, because if you delete the dot, it's also working. If you delete the dash, it shouldn't work, but it's working because it's in the same folder. But if we create a new folder called CSS, for example, and we move this file there, now it's not working. So we have to say it's in the CSS folder / style. But it also works with the dot, and it works in many ways. This depends on how you want to reference the document. This is the best practice because it goes to wherever you are, that folder, to the directory CSS, and then to the file style. But in this case, we're going to just add it like this. Okay, so it's a style CSS, and we're going to have it in the root folder. So these are the two ways you can style pages with the style tag. Okay, and we can combine them. So if I add here a style tag, I can add a background color, a body. We have to select first the element and then add background color of red. And why is this one being applied? Here, look, if I move this from the top to the bottom, then it's applied this one. Why is this working this way? Because the cascading in the CSS stands for cascading style sheet. Cascading is because it goes from the top to the bottom. So if here we apply a background color of aquamarine, and here we apply a background color of red, it applies the one at the bottom. Okay, so if this red one, we put it on the top, if there are two properties applying the same different values to the same element, the one that is at the bottom is the one that is being used, unless we are using classes or IDs to select the elements, because this selects the body, this selects all the H1 elements, not only this one. If we create another H1 here at the bottom, for example here, hello again, is going to be blue and with an underline as well. So we will learn how to add classes and IDs to select exactly the element we want to select, so we can style it as we want. Okay, so it's important that you know you can style with a style tag or with a link tag that references another file, and the file that is at the bottom is the one that is going to be applied if there are two elements selected the same way and applying the same property. Okay, if we add some different selectors, this won't happen. Okay, there is like a hierarchy. Okay, so this is the basic way to apply styles to your HTML.